What's up, Chris? Steven here from Powell's Power Ups. I have one of your Darth Mauls here. This is the finished chassis. I'm about to start the second one. I wanted to do one all the way and make sure it was good to go before I did the second. So here is, your 89 Sabers Darth Maul chassis. For other people watching this, I've done an 89 Sabers Darth Maul before, but I kept the chassis very basic, and it just had a speaker board and battery holder. But Chris wanted the NeoPixel LEDs to light up the accents here, those two little bulbs there, and I don't know if you can see it in the bottom here. Let me get the other one and I'll show you. Well, the bottom here has all kinds of cool details on the bottom, but it has shine through parts as well, and you wanted an LED down there too. But the main goal was to be able not just to have those NeoPixel LEDs in this hilt, but to also have a 28mm speaker. So it was a bit of a challenge for me. I definitely had to do a lot of thinking on this one, a lot of testing, but I came up with a chassis for it that has the NeoPixel LEDs for the bulbs, one here, one on the very end down here, and a 28mm speaker. Because you have because I have LEDs, past the speaker, I was not able to put the speaker, normal, like we traditionally see in lightsabers. Instead, I chose to make it flat. So I, designed the chassis to look like you see here. But to make sure I still have some sound going down that direction anywhere where a chassis, wasn't needed, I just took it out. So, sound can travel down this way towards the end. Also, for the NeoPixel LEDs, their wires travel through this little brass pipe here to go into this channel down inside here. Let me come over here in the light a little bit more. Yeah, so, that kind of, works as a wire to run wires through, but it also adds structural integrity since the 3D printed chassis is technically kind of thin in this area where the speaker is. I didn't want it to snap off. So adding this pipe in here, which runs all the way to there, adding that pipe in there gives it structural and strength as well. So not a super sexy chassis, but it does serve functional purpose of having our Profi board, lithium ion battery, an 18650, 28mm speaker, the NeoPixel LEDs, which are the 35 size from strips that is cut off and stuck in there and wired. And then we got our stock version 2 NPXL connector. I also sanded down, I got some detail on there. I sanded down these parts that were going to get painted and then painted it silver and left it kind of weathered in a sense, kind of scuffed up looking to kind of help match the hilt, which is also, a very weathered up Darth Maul hilt. So to put this in, I also did some modifications. To the inside of the hilt so that taking this in and out was as easy as possible. You don't need to remove any buttons. You don't need to remove the pommel cap at all. You don't need to unscrew or tighten or anything, these things. On the inside, I kind of sanded all these things down and made the chassis so perfectly flush that it just slides in. You screw it, together, and that's it. So you just open it up here, right? Make sure you don't lose your little rubber ring. We're going to pop in a battery, which, by the way, I'm going to remind you, Chris, when you put in a battery, these pins will have current. They'll be electrically charged, so you don't want to touch anything metal because you can short and fry your electronics, okay? So I don't have a battery in yet, but I'm just showing you. So you've got a spring tab system. As you can see there, you got a little wire channel for the, wires from the NeoPixels on the bottom end from the speaker and from the negative side, spring tab for the battery, all running down underneath the positive tab up into the space underneath the board here where everything's wired. But you got a spring tab system. Your spring is your negative side, so make sure you look at the label on your battery. Make sure you get the negative side against the spring. Okay, also some of these batteries, you'll notice the PCB protected ones have this little metal rail right here. It's from the circuit protector that runs up. Make that face upwards. So when we pop in our battery, we get a boot sound. We automatically hear the the speaker rocking there. This is a 28 millimeter Smuggler's Outpost. Here's the other one I'm gonna put in the other hilt. It's the silver 2 watt 4 ohm. Anyway, so we got the battery in. We're gonna put it inside the hilt now. So we're just gonna line up the two switches here with where the switches are here. Okay, we're just going to slowly just kind of set it down inside all the way down till it won't go no more. Okay, then you just screw on the upper section here, and that's it. And then it is inside. You can see your LEDs are lighting up the little bulbs there. The bottom is also lighting up too. So I have those LEDs set on a 2-minute timer. It's either 2 or 3 minutes, and then they'll go off. Then the Saber will kind of go to sleep. When you push your power button, it'll wake it back up, and they won't turn on again until you've activated the Saber. But those have like a flickering blade style. They're wired up to a separate data line, so they kind of do this flickering like that, this pulsing effect. Back up the camera a little bit. When we turn the Saber on, they just do an audio flicker, kind of match the blade style basically. They obviously change.
Orange, red, dark orange, orange, gold, yellow, green, aquamarine.
So they change color, green, with whatever the blade is.
Yellow, gold, orange, dark orange, orange, red.
What man couldn't have done this alone? Look what has become of you. A rat in the desert. Look what has become of you. A rat in the desert.
So you got OS 6.7 on here. You're running the FET263 prop file. I'll give you printed off instructions on how to operate it now. The last thing I want to mention is about your two buttons. So these screw into the hilt, and the button itself kind of unscrews. You see that? The reason why I'm pointing that out is because if these are screwed all the way down, they don't go down far enough to hit the button. It's not doing it here in this video. So what you do is if you back it out a little bit, it gives it a little bit of height, which actually makes it depressed further down into the hilt. So I have them perfectly adjusted. But if you need to adjust them, you don't really want to go all the way down. You want to back them off just a little bit. See, that one's too far now. So I back it off a little bit, and then it's just right. So that's something I wanted you to be aware of. Let's see. I also gave you longer screws, some black ones. You had some silver ones in there. They were a little bit shorter. And I also cleaned up the hilts. They were pretty dirty, especially all on the inside from whoever weathered them. I didn't take off any weathering or anything, but I just cleaned up them with some WD-40 all on the inside with a bristle brush and just clean them out so they're a little bit better looking now, a little bit cleaner looking, especially down the inside. But as far as taking it back out, we'll do this in reverse. All you do is screw off the top end, again being conscious of those pins because they have power. We're just going to take it straight off, set it down, and then your chassis just literally comes. You just kind of give it a little wiggle. It's really snug. I made it snug so that you don't have to do anything when you take it in and out. So you have twist on, and you have twist off. So that's good for when you have the hilts together and you want to activate both ends, or one end and then the other. All right, man, so there's the video for the one. I'm gonna, go ahead and do the install on the other chassis, but I just wanted to send you this one just to kind of show you that I did do some work. Hope you enjoy it, man. All right, so one more thing I forgot to show you in the other video is about your Profi board, like if you want to lift it up and access your SD card and the USB port and things like that, because right now, when it's down inside the board, you can't. So to do that, remove your battery. Remove your battery, remove your battery. That's step one. Step two, get you a nice little small pair of tweezers. Very gently at the top of the board on the corners, okay? Not in the middle because you don't want to break your SD card, but at the top corners, you just lift a little, and then lift a little, go back and forth because it's super snug, okay? Then you'll see it just lifts up like that. Now you can access your SD card, put on new fonts, things like that. I leave a copy of the configuration that I used on the SD card in case you want to, do some customizing of your own to it. When you're done, you're just going to use both your thumbs, okay? Gently, you're going to start pressing it back down inside of the chassis, okay? It is a press fit. And then you want it setting down in there nice and flush. Under right here, you want it down underneath, if that makes sense. Okay, like that. So that is how you lift it up, okay? Very gently, very slowly. You don't want to break your SD card or the Profi board, but I made it snug so that you can play with it and not worry about it coming out. I'm probably also going to, down here on this end, around all these, connections, I'm probably going to use some of my electrical tape, my liquid electrical tape, and cover those just as an added layer of protection. I've already done so on like the LED connections, the switch connections. You can see there on the LEDs. It's basically like, electrical tape, but a liquid version that you can apply to connections and stuff. So I'm probably going to go ahead and do that too. But there it is, man. Once I finish the second hilt, I'm going to add that to this video as well so you can see both.